unfortunately, does not come through crystal clear right away, by the way. It'll come through as we go through. And we'll get a little glimpse of that today. In all likelihood, the author is Solomon, probably. The author only identifies himself with this Hebrew word right here, Koheleth. That's what the book is called in Hebrew. Koheleth is a Hebrew word for the one who addresses the assembly. Also translated, as we will see today, either preacher or teacher. Good way to translate one who addresses the assembly. We mentioned last week. Curtis last week was our Koheleth. He addressed the assembly. Dan, today you are Koheleth. Welcome to the Koheleth crowd. So Dan will be our Koheleth today, one who will address the assembly, a teacher or a preacher. What else? Yeah, we had there's two terms that are going to occur a lot. 29 times we're going to see where it says life under the sun. Get used to hearing that. Life under the sun is just strictly Solomon's way of saying life here on earth. You know, we're all under the sun, so it does make sense. The other one is much more difficult. The NIV translates it meaningless, and we will get that right off the get-go today. Meaningless, and the King James and another version that Jim Neighbors has, I think it's the American Standard, translates it vanity. Meaningless is a terrible translation. Vanity is a little better. The Hebrew word, and if anything you get out of this class, you will have one Hebrew word in your vocabulary. By the time we're done, I'm going to drill in habel to you. The Hebrew word is habel, and it strictly means fleeting, temporary, a vanishing vapor. I like to call it a bursting soap bubble. It's here today, it's gone a few minutes later, and there's nothing left of it. That's Solomon's way of saying what this life is like, is a fleeting, temporary existence. Okay? So get used to the word meaningless / habel. I will make that very clear as we go along. This word does not mean that our life is meaningless. The things we do are meaningless. That is not a good translation whatsoever. It just means it is very transitory. Okay. We're going to let the test begin today because Solomon is going to put this life to the test. He's going to examine life underneath the sun. That's what this book is about. And it comes across, especially the first couple chapters which we will read today, very negatively. So prepare yourself to be not feel good about your life after we get done reading today. But we will perk it up a little bit. He's essentially going to ask, is this life worth living? I'm going to examine it. I'm going to put it to the test. And ask, is this life really worth living? Okay? All right. That's where we're going today. So today last week we didn't do any reading from Ecclesiastes. Today, you got about a minute or so to find the book of Ecclesiastes. And if you find Isaiah or you find Proverbs, you're right there. Right in the middle there. All right. Is this life worth living? Boy. All right, Thomas, here we go. No. This is today's theme song for this class is going to be dun 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 dun. So that sound like Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger saying, "I can't get no satisfaction." No satisfaction. That's today's theme song. Solomon will definitely tell us, "I can't get no satisfaction." He and Mick Jagger will be on the same page by the time we're done today, okay? So that's a good fight song too, isn't it? Okay. I can't get no satisfaction. All right. You turn over to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. I'm going to read you a few quotes about life. This life under the sun from people. Okay? This guy, I can't pronounce his name. His name's Shalom. He must be a Jewish guy. He writes the following about this life. Life is a blister on top of a tumor and a boil on top of that. He has a very positive outlook on life. His life is very painful, in other words. Carl Sandburg said this: Life is an onion. You peel it off one layer at a time, and sometimes you weep. You understand that one a little more, okay? George Bernard Shaw said this: life is a series of inspired follies. Kind of three fairly negative views of life under the sun. Three fairly close views of what Solomon would have to say for life under the sun. Let's get a little bit more. Those are men's opinions. We talked about this book will have a lot of men's opinion in it. Read scripture right there. It says this earth's going to last forever. That's a man's opinion. The inspired heavenly opinion has a different one. We'll discuss that in a while. Okay, Leonard, would you turn to John chapter 10, verse 10? John 10 and 10. Thomas, would you turn to, please, 1 Corinthians 15? 1 Corinthians 15. What's the Bible have to say about our life? Jesus said this in John 10 and 10. Leonard, what did he say? Okay. Another version says abundantly. So this life is, under Jesus' reign, is supposed to be an abundant life, a fulfilling life. Okay? Nothing like what we have heard some of these folks say. Now, Tom's going to read from 1 Corinthians 15 and 58. Paul's going to tell us this about our life. 58. Way down, almost the last verse.
Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
Okay, we labor, we live here, and it's not going to be worthless. Not going to be meaningless. The same thing Solomon is going to tell us, that this life is meaningless. Paul says just the opposite. It is not in vain. It is to our benefit. It is somebody else's benefit also. Okay. Let's let the test begin. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and chapter 2. And Solomon's going to put 4 things to the test today. 4 things. Number 1 is going to be nature. That's underneath the sun. We all deal with that every day. He's going to talk about nature. He's also going to test wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, life experience. And also going to test pleasure. Worldly pleasure, worldly good. And the 4th one is accomplishment and our successes. Solomon was very, very good or very appropriate that he ran this test because he had as the king, he could do anything. He was fabulously wealthy, and he had a lot of wisdom. We have somebody who's going to put this life to a test who is eminently qualified to do so. And he'll tell us how qualified he is as we go along here. So the test begin. He's going to talk about nature, wisdom or knowledge, life's pleasures, and life's accomplishments. Let's see what kind of a conclusion he does come to. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. I bet Dan's going to beat me to it already. Okay. We'll start in verse 1, chapter 1 to verse 1. Now, it's interesting in that of these 12 chapters, he's going to sum up what he means for these 12 chapters in the first two verses for us. And we're going to get that term, meaningless. You have meaningless? You have the NIV up there? Okay. You're going to see the term meaningless, which we all know now means that, habel. An empty, vaporous soap bubble existed. The words of the teacher, that's the other translation for habel, for Koheleth. The words of the teacher, son of David, king of Jerusalem. Another clue that this is probably Solomon, because that describes Solomon very well. Meaningless with exclamation points, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is a bell. Everything is a bursting soap bubble. Meaningless. Vanity. In case you were wondering where he's going, he lets you know right from the get-go what he thinks this life is going to be like. But let's let the test begin. Let's go. Chapter 1, verse 3. What do people gain from all their labors in which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. I mentioned this is full of man's opinion, just like the book of Job is. Solomon's opinion is this world's going to last forever. What does the Bible? You already see you doing this. What does the Bible? What does God say about that, Denise? Okay. And what's going to happen when Jesus comes back? Peter tells us this. The earth and all the elements will be what? Where we're standing on right now. Burned up. Gone. Poof. A bell. Poof. Okay, so that, once again, this is Solomon's man's opinion. He thinks this world's going to last forever. It's just his opinion. It's in the Bible. It must be true. It's man's opinion. Okay? But when God speaks through Peter, this world will not last forever. Okay. Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. I love this one here. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. You see a 10-year-old asking that question. You know. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything in which one can say, look, this is something new? It has already here long ago. It was here long before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. Solomon tested nature, tested the world, shall we say. And essentially, he says nothing changes. Nothing is resolved. It's endless and it's monotonous. Agree? You understand where he's coming from. You know, things change every day. The sand dunes change every day. But they're still there, and they will still be there, barring some cataclysmic event 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, or later, assuming the Lord does not return. So we can definitely understand what Solomon is saying here. The streams flow. The sun rises. We get up and go to bed, or get up and go to work and go to bed. Nothing really changes. And we talk about new technology. He says here, look, there's something new. No, it's already been here. Is that true? This is man's opinion. New technology. Is it really new? Okay.
God has made mine that is a lot better than anything that
Can man create anything? With God's help, okay. Can Letha, you spoke up, you're going to be picked on now. Can Letha create anything? Can you create anything, Letha? Letha, I want you to create a rock. It's already here, but let's go. Letha or anybody else cannot, no man can create anything. Whatever we make, new technology we have is something that is already here. And that's what he said. There's something new. No, it's already here. It just hasn't been maybe revealed. I use this going back to Revelation.
You know the old joke about the guy that said he's great, even out of dirt. God came down and said, let's see it. And he said, and he went to the dirt up and said, no, go get your own dirt.
Okay, yeah, exactly. You want to create something? Okay. Create it with something that God has not put before you already, that has been created. We can't do it, folks. Okay, so when I talk about new technology, or we talk about new technology, it is nothing new in that we have created anything. It's something that maybe has been revealed. I use this example here. Way back when, we always use the term caveman. I don't like that term, but let's say some dude comes along and says, he's pulling his cart. Boy, it's hard to pull off that dirt. And one day, he discovers this round thing. What do round things do? They roll. If I put that on my cart, then I can just, hi, birthday boy. Blair's birthday today, folks. Say, boys. Blair's birthday today. Round things roll. Did he create that? No, it was just revealed to him. Okay? And then, you know, if I get one of these fuzzy things over here that are large, that run real fast, it's called a horse, and I hook it up to that thing, now I can really move fast with my car. And if I put an engine on this thing, then I can even move faster. We have created nothing. We just have taken what God has given us and the brain He has given us to work these things out. So when we talk about new technology, we know what people are talking about, but it's nothing new that we have created. Okay, bottom line. What is this world? This world is what, Denise? What's Solomon saying? About? Okay. Monotonous, nothing changes, nothing's resolved. Things just keep going on and on and on and on. Okay, number one. Now he's going to talk about wisdom. Let's go to chapter 1, verse 12. Just moving on down the road there. Chapter 1, verse 12. I, the teacher, was king over Jerusalem, king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are Habel, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. That's another theme that's going to come through this book very clearly. We as humans think that we got things under pretty much control. We got this. Do we got this? No, we don't. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We think that we are the masters of our universe. No. In fact, when me and Curtis were driving out to this Smith family the other day, and we were talking about it, and there was a car coming that was on the 8 South, and we were coming to meet that, the intersection there. We both said, you know, in a second or two, if that guy don't stop, we're gone. We don't have control over that guy stopping his car. Just stuff like that, we think we have such control over it, and we really don't. That will come through very quick. Okay, let's move on. I said to myself, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I've experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Once again, indicating Solomon. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this, too, is chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. We use the term. Bliss is ignorance. Is it? Sometimes, huh? Ignorance is bliss. Is it? Sometimes it is. We think. Tom, can I use your example that you used the other day? Sure, whatever it was, huh? Tom graduated high school. Thought he knew, I got this down. I'm good. I'm good. He went to college and realized what? There's a lot of other people out there who are smart like me. Kind of had to start at the bottom and work your way back up again. By the time he graduated Texas Tech, once again, he was at the top. I got this down. And then what did he do? What did he do, Letha? He met you and married you. And what does that do, Tom?
That showed me how ignorant I was.
Exactly. Once again, I'm back down here.
What's going on in the world?
Okay. We think we got this. And the
Smart enough to know I don't know very much.
exactly. The guy named T.S. Eliot, he said this. This is kind of what this is talk about. All of our knowledge brings us nearer to our ignorance. The more you know, the less you know. The smartest people, generally, the people who think they're the smartest, these are the people who are ignorant. You know, my universe consists of this right here. Boy, I know everything. You think an ant thinks he knows everything? Ant's got his whole world down. My little 50 square feet, I know everything about that. And we as humans, we see that, what do we think? Boy, what a dumb little ant. I know all these miles here. I know all the things he can't even conceive of. I can get in an airplane going all the way to the other side of the world. He has this little area right here. He thinks he's a great kingdom over it, great ruler over it. And God sees that, and what does he? Sees us, thinking that we have such great knowledge. What did he say? We are now the ants. So ignorance sometimes is bliss. Don't get too caught up in what you think you know. The world will humble you. God will humble you. Okay, wisdom. Let's go chapter 2, verse 12. Continuing on with wisdom. Chapter 2, verse 12. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom, and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly. Okay, I think we're all agreeing with that. Just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, while the fool walks in the darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Whether you are the smartest guy in the world or the dumbest guy in the world, Solomon has realized that, you know what? When all is done and said, we come to the same conclusion, the same fate. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? That also is Habel. I said to myself, this too is meaningless, Habel. For the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. The days have already come when both have been forgotten. Like the fool, the wise too must die. So Solomon comes to the conclusion that once again, wisdom is Habel, because whether you're smart or you're stupid, when all's done and said, they both end up in the grave. Only what have they gained? What have they profited? But it is better to be wise. All right, so far he's 0 for 2. Nature, monotonous and endless. Wisdom is not what it's made up to be. Let's try pleasure. Okay? Now he's going to mix these two together as we read today. See? I'll kind of try to point out he mixes pleasure and accomplishment in while he's talking. So we'll kind of hopefully pull those out. Pleasure. What is that, chapter 2? Yeah, chapter 2, verse 1. Remembering, this guy could do anything. I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be a bell. Laughter, I said, is madness, and what does pleasure accomplish? What a question that is. What does pleasure accomplish? Fleeting or long term? Pleasure. Usually it's pretty fleeting. What does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly. My mind still guided me with wisdom. Thank you, Solomon. My mind still guided me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heaven during the few days of their lives. Now he's going to talk about accomplishments. He's going to mix now accomplishments. All the things he did. Undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water my groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves. Now he's going to talk about his accumulation of goods. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem as well, the delight of a man's heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing. My eyes desired and refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet, when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was Habel, a chasing after wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. I accumulated everything. I tried everything. And once again, he comes up empty. Man. I said this comes across very negatively. I don't see too many smiles right now other than, oh, wait. But this is a very negative outlook on life. Okay? Need we go any further? Then he talks about, we won't read it, his accomplishment and his accumulation of goods. And he comes to the conclusion that when I die, guess what? Remember what the Egyptians say, you can't take it with you. Who gets it? Probably some slug is going to get it. Somebody who doesn't deserve it. When I die, all the stuff that I've done, all the things that I've accumulated, somebody else is going to get it. And what good is that? And they didn't even work for it. And that once again is Habel. Right now, Mick Jagger and Solomon are on the same page. They cannot get any satisfaction. What am I doing here? If Solomon were to ask the question right now and answer it, is this life worth living? What do you think he would say right now? Okay. Just skip all the stuff in between, all the aggravation, as Jim says. Okay. All right. That's what it seems like right now, folks. Let's hang with Solomon for a few more chapters. Well, I'm really pulling out the 1970s rock stars now. The Moody Blues. Anybody remember the Moody Blues? Boy, they were good. Okay. And the tide rushes in and washes my castles away. Has anybody ever gone out on the beach and built a sandcastle? It's not cool to do that, yeah. What do you got to make sure you do, though? Build it up near the motel. Don't build it up by the shore. Even that's where all the water is. It makes it real good to build. But when the tide rushes in, it washes your castle away. This is a great analogy for what Solomon is telling us right now. All the things we do, all the things we strive for, all the things we accumulate, all the things that we humans treasure. The tide rushes in, life rushes in, and washes our castles away. Don't get used to it. They are bad. Now, yeah, okay. That's an excellent example. Sterling mentions build your house on firm foundation. Build your sandcastle up by the motel, away from the tide, okay? he's going to give us our first glimmer of hope. And maybe this life ain't as bad as it seems. 6 times throughout this book, Solomon will give us the same admonition, the same reminder. And next to chapter 12, fear God and keep his commandments. This is the second most important thing that Solomon has to tell us. Go to chapter 2, verse 24. Why is this life worth living? 2 and 24. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too I see is from the hand of God. Some my people might say a gift of God. For without him, who can eat or find any enjoyment? To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. What you saying here, Jim Neighbors? What do you need to do when you're 80-some years? Okay? In your 80-some years, coming up quickly here, what is it best for you to do? To dwell on Habel or okay, you're shameless sometimes, but yeah. No. Back to that. We're going to read that in a few chapters, folks. That's the thing Jim said right there. But the bottom line is, God has given us this gift of life. Enjoy it. Thank him for it. Whatever your lot may be, whether you're the president, whether you're the CEO of some fancy company, it's like Solomon with fabulous wealth, fabulous wisdom, or a very common person like most of us are. Whatever your lot in life, enjoy what God has given you. It is his gift to you, as the wife will be in a few chapters here. That's our first glimmer of hope. And we're going to get 5 more before it's all done and said. This life is worth living. It is God's gift to us. Enjoy it. Whatever lot he has put you into. Okay? Next week. Solomon's a wise guy. And he's come to some pretty harsh conclusions so far. And that wisdom's going to say, you know, Solomon, maybe we better reevaluate here. Let's reconsider our conclusion. Somebody wise would do that. And that's what he's going to do next week for us. He's going to reconsider, reevaluate. He's going to come up with 4 things that God really has helped us with to make this life much more enjoyable. So today was probably the bottom lesson here. The real life, all is Habel, go home, and, you know, but next week he's going to say, you know what? Let's look at this a little closer. It ain't quite as bad as it seems. Okay? All right. Questions, comments before we close it up here. I would encourage you to just go through it like Denise did and just kind of be confused like me and Denise are. All right. Thank you so much for your